morning and welcome to Joy in Our Town. I'm your host, Sue Perez. On today's show, we're going to be discussing the impact that prescription drugs can have on a family. Don't go anywhere. This is going to be a very informative show. So join me and welcome our guest today. I want to first of all welcome Jodi Barber. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you.
And then Sherrie Rubin and Aaron Rubin. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
We just want our viewers to get a feel for this topic because it is so important. So let me start with you, Jodi. You have a special tie into this whole issue. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I'm the mother of two. I have two sons. Unfortunately, my son is in heaven, but he's still with us. He would have been turning 21 last week. I also have a son who is a junior, and he'll be 17. Excuse me. I'm a housewife and mother. I've been married to my beautiful husband almost 25 years. And I always worked full-time until I had my first child, and then I was a stay-at-home mother. So we live in Orange County. I live in Laguna Niguel, lived in Laguna Niguel for 22 years now. And
somebody's got to.
Yes, yes, and it's a beautiful city.
So your son that passed away, what was his name?
My son, Jared.
Jared.
Yes.
Tell us what happened with Jared.
Jared passed away 19 months ago, January 8th, 2010, and he started with marijuana. We found him smoking marijuana when he was 16 years old, and this is where it started. And this was the biggest issue we had with him, was marijuana. He swore, that he would never do it again. Of course, he continued with it. He did have anxiety, and that was his reason to smoke pot. But we did everything possible to stop it, and nothing worked. It helped his anxiety, is what he said. But at the end, it actually made it worse.
And I think a misconception for the kids these days and for parents is that marijuana is like the marijuana in the 60s. It clearly isn't. It has THC in it. It has many other chemicals and is very highly addictive. And they don't understand that, and parents don't understand that either. New studies are coming out to show that it is addictive. So there is research on that, and when Aaron and I speak with other organizations like Teen Challenge and other kids trying to get off of marijuana drugs, a variety of drugs, they will tell you that they kind of gear their buyers to the next drug, because when they sell the marijuana to the kids, they put in additional drugs to groom them to continue to be their cash cow, for the lack of another word, and continue on with the addiction process into a more expensive drug. And that comes from their mouths, not from mine.
I mean, my son was so addicted to it that he found himself towards the end having to wake up and smoke a joint before starting his day. And that's how addictive it is.
Jodi, how prevalent is prescription drug addiction in Orange County?
Oh, it's such an epidemic. It is just a growing epidemic right now, and it's out of hand. It's like Orange County is infested right now with prescription pill addicts. I have a poster that I have placed all around our city in windows, of store windows, and with my phone number for help. And with that poster, every week I get phone calls almost every day from mothers and from kids wanting help.
We have a picture of that on our screen right now so that the viewers can take a look at it, and maybe they can, when they see it, they'll recognize it. But
yes,
it's the face of situations.
Yes, this is just a few of the faces that I was able to put onto the poster. This is 19 faces of kids who have passed away because of prescription pills. And
what are some of the common prescriptions?
The common prescription pills, the ones that these kids are passing away because of, is Oxycontin and a pill that's called Opana.
Opana?
Opana. And I would like to talk more about this pill because it's getting more popular.
Before you do that, though, what is Oxycontin prescribed for?
Pain.
Pain.
Yes, and it's a synthetic heroin. And what these kids all start with are muscle relaxers. A lot of them are football players with injuries. So they go to the doctor for their injury, and these doctors are giving them Vicodin, which is also synthetic heroin, and very addicting. And this just leads to a different pill, a stronger pill. And now they're getting Oxycontin from either a friend or a drug dealer or a doctor. And this pill called Opana is like 10 times worse than Oxycontin. It's used for terminally ill cancer patients, and doctors are prescribing it.
For a football injury or something like that?
They're prescribing it with no
pain.
given reason. They're prescribing it to make money is what they're prescribing it for.
And for even if they prescribe it for terminally ill patients, if they're elderly, their grandkids are in their homes, they go into their medicine cabinets of their grandparents and they get it. And the Opana is probably 100 times more powerful and dangerous than Oxycontin. It is very highly addictive. Oxycontin is scary enough, and heroin is scary enough, but Opana is even worse.
And with these pills they are getting from doctors, and some of the kids are dealing and selling the pills now to help with their fix. You know, they keep a few and they also sell a few. Well, these pills are costly. They cost $60, $70 for one pill. So now they're hooked. I mean, one pill and they are hooked, and they become addicts. And they get desperate. They don't have money. I never gave my son money until the last day he passed away. I gave him $60 because he lied and said he was going out on a date. He took that $60 and purchased the Opana from somebody he knew.
Now, Jodi, let me ask you this. How did you find out, other than the marijuana, how did you find out your son was taking prescription drugs?
The way I found out, like I said, I didn't have a big issue as far as I knew with pills with Jared. It was the marijuana issue. And the way I found out was because I found him, my husband and I found him knotted off in the backyard twice at 3 in the morning. We'd wake up and make sure he's home and safe, and couldn't find him. And there he was in the backyard, sitting there, sitting up. And I went to wake him, and he'd say, "No, Mom, I'm not sleeping, I'm just nodding off." And trying to get him to bed was a nightmare for us because he just couldn't go there. He just kept nodding off. So we knew he was on something bad, and we wanted to get him help immediately.
And how old was he at that time when he first noticed the drugs were involved, besides the marijuana?
He, you know, what it does to the family is devastating. The hurt that we felt for him, because we can tell that he was hurting. The pills changed his personality. He would become angry. He would cry for no reason. He was not himself. He was not the Jared that I once knew. And it also, we got angry. I was constantly yelling at him because, you know, he wasn't himself. He'd either be mean to his brother or he was talking back. You know, he just wasn't the Jared, the nice Jared that we used to have. And so I was becoming angry with him. And you know, all these drugs lead to, first it's your grades that go down, and it's jail time because of a DUI. And you know, he totaled his car, and it just leads to worse and worse things. And
was there ever discussion of intervention? Did you feel like he wanted help, or?
He wanted help. He did not want to get help through a rehab. And this is, you know, he's 19 years old. He has to want the help.
Right.
Otherwise, he can walk himself out. And he was a very stubborn young man, I have to say. So it was devastating. My sister came and was his intervention. She gave him chips of encouraging words every month when he was doing well. He wanted help, so we went to a doctor, my husband and I, to a psychologist, And that's where the psychologist referred us to the best doctor in Orange County for help with Jared's drug use. It went downhill. In 3 months, he passed away because of the pills he was on. You know, it got worse.
In 3 months?
The pills did not help him. He was put on pills from the doctor, not counseling like he needed. He wanted to get counseling, but he wanted pills as well from the doctor.
And the doctor gave them to him.
And that's what the doctor, he went in there asking for a certain pill, and the doctor first told him no, and then the doctor went to his cabinet and gave him the pills. And it was called Klonopin.
So what, I'm going to keep my emotions down here, but so your organization, what is your mission now? Because this sounds ridiculous.
Yeah, well, 2 days after my son passed away was another boy in San Clemente, and a week after that was his friend who came here for a service who died, who was in the Army for a year and came and relapsed and died from heroin. It just continued and escalated, and I kept hearing more and more deaths. So I needed to do something. So what I did was I got these posters made up and I put them everywhere I can. I started speaking at funerals, at the services to these kids. I was just trying to make awareness and get parents aware of what to look for, you know, in the household, and bring more awareness, because there's just not enough of it out there. So I started educating and speaking at the high school, and I got 2 21-year-olds to speak at the high school in the health classes. And now I'm finishing up on a documentary that Aaron is involved with.
Thanks for the segue there to shift over to them. We'll get back to you in a little bit, but I would like you, Sherrie, to introduce us to Aaron, please.
Okay, yes.
Your son.
This is my son, Aaron. He's the oldest boy of my 3 boys, and we do have an older daughter who is the oldest of the Rubin children. Aaron is, I guess you would say, a survivor. He's not the son that I know. We had to get reacquainted with each other. Aaron overdosed on Oxycontin and prescription pills October 9th, 2005. He was in a coma for 3.5 weeks. We were in the midst of preparing for his funeral. The doctors had advocated for us to withdraw care. And apparently Aaron and God had a chat, and he is still here with us today.
And we're showing a picture of on the monitor now of him. That's when he was on life support.
Yes.
And that's when the doctors were telling you make plans for a funeral.
Yes. Yes. And we had and purchased the plot and did organ donation, and then he started opening his eyes. It was kind of joyous, but in another way it wasn't, because his eyes looked like Terry Schiavo eyes, and kind of like in a vegetative state. And so we just kept praying and putting one step, forward each day, and he has improved quite tremendously. And when we were institutionalized, I call that the first 2 years of being in rehabs and brain injury rehabs. When I came home, I started speaking at high schools, and it's the same situation as Jodi, except for that Aaron is here, and he heard me writing what I would say to the school, and he started crying in his room. And that was right after, it was about all his hopes and dreams and things that he wanted to accomplish with his life. And so I knew at that point that he wasn't really ready to go and talk. And now we do go and speak with the Sheriff's Department and the DEA's department. And we go independently to schools, and we formed a nonprofit organization, HOPE, Heroin, Oxycontin, Prescription Pill Education, because in my eyes, it's really the most important thing that we can do for our communities, our families, our children, and ourselves is not be in denial of things that are happening around us and gain education, because you can't protect your children as a parent if you don't know what's going on and if you don't want to accept what's going on. And if you don't gain that education, you won't have a family or a community left. And so that's pretty much the drive that Hope is education and awareness. And we've, you know, been on tour, so to speak, and Erin loves speaking. Do you like going to the schools, Erin? Yes.
So we do 1 for yes, 2 for no. Okay, because I want to ask Erin something now.
Sure.
Erin, were you experimenting with prescription drugs in high school?
1 for yes, 2 for no. Close your hand.
Okay.
Did you take prescription drugs in high school? 1 for yes, 2 for
yes. No. Now, Sherrie, was there a reason that he started to experiment?
Erin, did you think that all your problems would go away if you took prescription drugs in high school? 1 for yes, 2 for no. Yes.
Okay. And were you aware that he was having problems?
No, no. We were aware. We had the ongoing, continuing fight of alcohol. Not so much marijuana. Did you smoke marijuana, Erin? I think you did a little, yes or no? Yes. Not that I was aware of. In my mind, which is a special place for all parents that think that nothing's going on, that I had no idea about that. In my mind, it was alcohol, but he actually did come to his dad and say that he needed help. He was kind of out of control. And some of the signs that we witnessed with Erin was moodiness, anger, temper tantrums, excessive sweating, kind of nodding off, your head shaking. And a lot of times they can control it during the day, the shaking, especially from the Oxycontin and opiates, but when they're asleep, they can't control their body. So if you see your child shaking when they're sleeping, that's another indication that they are using an opiate. So he had all of those indicators, but as a parent, and he had muscle pain and weakness, but we kind of think of things that we have experienced. I have an autoimmune disorder. My grandmother had autoimmune disorder. I have painful arms and leg flare-ups, and so when he was having his legs flare up in pain, and you know, I thought, oh dear, he's going to have the disease. He's going to have an autoimmune disease.
When they are on pills, everything hurts. Everything hurts.
Especially when they haven't had the pills, because they're going into withdrawal. And that's how strong they are. It really affects the body. They'll be nauseous, they'll vomit.
And I was confused because I never caught my son taking a pill, so I didn't know he was taking pills. So I was very confused at the time.
And you think they have the flu and that they're sick. And I want to be very clear that because your child may have 1 or 2 of these type of symptoms, I mean, it's just eyes open and awareness. I mean, don't throw them up and lock them into a rehab right then, but it's worth investigating the behavior of your child. If it goes along with, you know, grades dropping, no interest in family activities, needing money, asking for money, and another thing is, oh, I'll be right back in 15 minutes. Oh, I'm just going to go around the corner. What good ever comes from going somewhere for 15 minutes
corner,
and you're not seeing the person that your child is meeting? That's historical on that. And
let me ask Erin something real quick though, Erin, because your mom is sharing with us her perspective. But Erin, did you ever think that something bad would happen from taking drugs?
1 for yes, 2 for no.
No?
No.
Yeah, it never crossed your mind.
Nope.
Nope.
No,
they don't see that.
They do think they're invincible.
Yeah.
These kids
and
think
didn't we all,
it's not
as
going to happen
teenagers?
to them.
And when we go and we speak to the kids, you know, honestly, I tell them, we all did stuff when we were teenagers that our parents hopefully will never find out about, or that we shouldn't have done.
Well, as long as you don't inhale, you're okay.
And But the things facing the children and the teens and the youth today are much more life-threatening and tragic than ever before. And this is what they're faced with when they go to school alone. They are basically they're alone. So it's really our job to arm them with all the information and knowledge that they can really get about prescription pills, because what they're going to hear is like, oh, here's some pills, it's just like marijuana, but it's 100 times better. And it is 100 times better because it does go to the same spot in the brain that marijuana does, but it's 100 times powerful. So yeah, it is. But within 1 to 3 times, depending on your brain, you will become an addict. And I tell them, look, we get enough diseases in life that we don't want and that are just out there. Why choose to give yourself? Why make a choice? Yes, at first it's a choice, but then it becomes a disease. And this is a lifelong disease that you will have to maintain the rest of your life.
Exactly. Exactly. And my goal here is I don't feel I can reach the kids that are already there, that are already addicts and are already taking pills. But my goal is to reach the kids not to start, to don't even go that direction, because they will become addicts as well.
Exactly.
I mean, these kids see their best friends, and I mean many of them are dying right now, and they go to the funeral already on a pill. One kid overdosed at a friend's funeral. This is how strong these pills are. They can't stop once they start.
Erin, after your friend's funeral, did you almost overdose in the bathroom at his wake?
Yes. Erin, let me ask you this. Do you think that a kid should try experimenting even if it's just one time?
One for you.
No? No. Not even one time. It's not worth it.
No.
Because you don't know, the child doesn't know their susceptibility.
Exactly. It could be one time for them. It could be 3. It's not if, it's when. And it's very quickly, honestly. It's very quickly. That's just the way it really is.
I mean,
go ahead.
My son was given a quarter of a pill from a friend, and he didn't think it was going to hurt him. A quarter of a pill. So he became addicted. Now he needs more, and now he needs a whole pill. And this is how strong it is. It's highly addicting.
And the other thing I would like to mention to parents is your child doesn't need you to be their friend. Most children, unless they have some disability or some social disorder, they don't need another friend. They have plenty of friends. You can check their text messages, check their computers, check the lingo on lingomaster.com. Beans, bars, that's Xanax bars, beans, Oxycontin. There's all type, and check their cell phone when they're in the shower. And, I would not do it at night, because if you find something, you're going to get really upset, and then you're not going to be able to sleep. I'd maybe do it in the morning, but, that's your job. That's our responsibility. And I wish that 5 years ago that there was someone like Jodi, myself, or Erin, telling the story of what happened to their child. Making us aware of how dangerous and what the kids are getting into, because it is now a national epidemic. It's everywhere. I know you're concentrating, and this is an Orange County program, but it truly is everywhere.
It's everywhere.
Well, let me ask you something, Sherrie, because all our viewers out there, I think it'd benefit anyone who knows somebody or is dealing with it themselves. Without being super graphic and whatever your level of comfort is, what exactly occurred to Aaron when he overdosed, and what was it like as he had to go through 2 years of rehab? And we see him now, he's a handsome 29-year-old man. He would do things different.
Oh, yes.
Now.
You would, yes. Yes, Erin? You would do things different?
Yep.
Yeah. Well, in Aaron's case, which is shockingly tragic, but unfortunately is not uncommon. He was at a friend's house and had spent the night, and we all get together as a family on Sundays for breakfast. And his dad was calling the cell phone, and there was no response. And apparently the friend's house that he was at, Aaron was on the couch, and the phone alerted the mom that, to Aaron to answer the phone, and he was blue and non-responsive. In her own words, she pounded on his chest, threw ice on him. They used Aaron's cell phone to call Tijuana, where their son had purchased the drugs, maybe to find a cure-all or something. Then they called a friend who was an EMT, and the EMT said, call 911. They still didn't call 911, and the father and son, because their son had drugs in the house, drug Aaron to the car because he was a big, strapping man.
Well, you can tell.
Threw him in the back of the car, and when they got to the emergency room and asked, what's wrong with him? Why is he in a coma? Why is he not breathing? They said they had no idea. And so, tragically enough, if you put yourself in the position of being with people that are doing drugs, more than likely, they will not be there to help you get help.
No.
Aaron, do you think any of the friends that you did drugs with would help you? 1 for yes, 2 for no. No. Close your hand. Would they help anyone else? 1 for yes, 2 for no. No. And so he, from that, they did bring him back to life. We walked in and they told us, I'm sorry, you're going to lose your son today. But what happened is his heart stopped, which stopped the oxygen to his brain. He had the heart attack, then he had a stroke, front and back, both sides of his brain. There was only a third of his brain that wasn't affected. And then there were grueling years of therapy, which still continue today. And he has improved quite tremendously, and there's a reason that Aaron's here. And although this is not the path or the destiny that I saw for Aaron as his mother or his father did, or not the path that Aaron thought that he would have in life, sometimes it's not our choice what our path is. And I have chosen, and Aaron has chosen, to hopefully help another family or another child. And we're not, overly hopeful, for the lack of my loss of words at the moment, that when we go and speak to 1,000 kids, that, oh yeah, they're all just going to say, oh no, we're not going to go there. But just one kid at a time. And that one kid, our family dynamics will never be the same. Right. And, his brothers and sisters, they're busy with their life. It's still very difficult for them to even see Aaron like this, especially the younger brothers. They were his friends, all those friends, and Aaron had hundreds and hundreds. He was a very non-discriminating person. All economic backgrounds, all race, all religions, many friends. Do you have many friends visit you, Aaron? 1 for yes, 2 for no. How many? 2?
We're going to have to close here, but thank you all for being with us today. What a picture you've painted. And thank you for joining us this morning on Joy in Our Town.
This program has been sponsored by the Trinity Broadcasting Network and made possible by your telethon dollars. Your continual support can keep Joy in Our Town brought to your home every day. So write Joy in Our Town, P.O. Box A, Santa Ana, California, 92711.